do you sleep better at night knowing that you've rolled these things out and managing your organization? I actually do. I found that like it's less like I think we're all doing well and more like I think I know how we're doing.
Um, it certainly was a relief with respect to this particular engagement where the obligations ensued. Um, I think since, as I said, we're seeing more and more that it's becoming a standard part of any additional business arrangement, whether it's to bigger systems or individual institutions, that they say, you know, do you meet this standard, or can you show evidence of it, right? Like, to the extent we're able to just every time, yes. Yeah, when you could just say yes, it's a radically different experience than if you have to kind of explain who you are and how you do, and they just have to sort of trust you. I think for me, the big switch that I'm still kind of grappling with is so much of our project still operates in a way as a academic collaborative enterprise. So what I mean by that is that we don't we build things because we learn from our users, our community, what needs they have. And they tell us because they want their students to succeed, and we do as well. And so they're our best source of information about what additional features and functions and whatnot might really help as they're going out there and trying to improve students' lives. But the way we then build that and ultimately roll it out presumes that it might not work quite right. We can't necessarily know within the sort of size of the organization we have that we got it right the first time, and we don't have an entirely separate sort of like test pool, if you will, right? Our testers are just the students, right? We push things out and then we ask for forgiveness in a way from our community if it turns out, oh yeah, that's not great, that caused more problems than it solved, whatever. So there's a lot of sort of accommodation, if you will, to the reality on the ground, which is that this is in the end the best and most authentic way that we can keep driving forward. But it comes with this cost. It comes with the risk that we might do something and something breaks. We really can't do that in the same way we could for much of our history. Like, when you get to this next level where we're now several steps removed from the end users, from the teachers and so on, we still want to be right there and supporting them, but we just don't have that same kind of relationship when you're operating at a state scale, for example. And it puts us in this position where, we can't just be putting stuff out there that just breaks. Like, that's not okay. And so the SOC 2 is sort of part of this, let's call it a sort of suite of new obligations and requirements, not just in terms of, oh, thou shalt do this because the law says, or we require whatever, but really in terms of our own operating structure, our own mindset around what we're doing and how we do it, what risks we're willing to assume, what risk others are willing to assume. So that's the part I'm still kind of working through because it is a shift in mindset, but it's really nice to know that in this case, and we have others that are coming down the pipe with a similar sort of journey, it wasn't like, oh, wow, we're just taking the rug out from under our feet, our whole world is changing, right? No, it's been more of a subtle shift. It's been more of a, okay, yeah, like we're going to have to extend, for example, the development cycle to just make that much more sure that we're not doing something inadvertent, or we just need to be a little more clear about our, for example, hiring practices, and validate that those people who are in a privileged position to get access to data, right, that we're confident about them, that kind of thing. So that part makes me feel really good. right? I think
Yeah.
if we had really struggled to get to that certification because we kept bumping into places where we were just way far away from where we needed to be, I would have had a very different opinion at this point.
Yeah, I really like the your description of being able to hand over the milestone, the certificate, the asset over and over and over again.
Yeah.
We have this concept that StrikeGraph helps our customers get trust with their customers. And let's face it, like at the end of the day, all of this friction is about, can I trust you with my data? And there's nothing better than a standard and an independent assessor to say, yes, they meet a certain milestone. We can provide reasonable assurance that this organization is adopting good practices. And it's a little bit like the golden goose. You just hand it over to the next customer and hand it over to the next customer, keep it maintained, and it's a really efficient way to communicate trust.